when I was first aware of being interested in art was from a very young age, because my father was an artist and illustrator, and it was something that was going on all the time around the household. Yeah, he brought up 5 children on his abilities as an artist. So it was something I always did. In fact, it was kind of interesting when I was asked at school in the juniors what your dad did for a living. I said, well, he's an artist. And they thought, nah, go and check out what he probably does, yeah? Well, most people was a joiner, worked in the shipyards, down the pits at the time when they were quite in full flow. So I actually went back that night and said, Dad, what do you do? They're asking me what you do at school. And he said, just say I'm a graphic designer or an illustrator. It'll keep them quiet. So that's always been part of my life. And kind of when I wanted to be an artist, I don't think there was any time I thought I wouldn't just keep on doing this. From a very early age, I mean, I remember my dad gave me a scalpel when I was 5-year-old to sharpen pencils with. He said, don't cut yourself. He says, and that pencil's got to be sharp. It's a tool. Don't cut yourself. It's a tool. Just be careful. I never did. And I took scalpels to school, sharpened pencils. Can you imagine doing that these days? Yeah. So I guess my father was a very big influence on me. Yeah. We were also very good friends in later years. You know, we did a lot of work together, a lot of architectural illustration. So I just set them up in the linear side. And we swapped drawing boards with the images. And he'd say, Paul, can you put this in? Can you do that? So no one actually knew, but it was a really nice relationship to have. So when I was at art school, I could paint anywhere. I don't need to paint in a studio. I actually find it very distracting in the art college studios because there's lots of stuff going on. But the print rooms, I used to go there and I learned how to etch and to screen print. And I really enjoyed that. And I thought, well, I may as well use the facilities while I can, because as I say, I can paint anywhere. So really it was a case of developing all the skills to find out which avenues I wanted to go down. But most of these days I'm going out and taking photographs because I can spend months on pictures and paintings. The seasons will change by the time I finish a picture. Quite often I'll do stuff in reflection. I mean, some of the images I just produced recently, I maybe took the photographs 10 years ago. And they seem to nag at me, they keep coming back into my mind. And so I think, okay, I'll paint the damn thing to get rid of the nag. I'm not sure if I'm any closer to understanding why it's nagging at me, but at least that it's complete, that's gone there. And usually the images have been places that have, well, all of the places have affected me in some way. If you like, it creates a resonance. Again, I've got to be careful of artistic bollocks, because I mean, there's a lot of crap talked about this stuff, but it strikes a chord, it strikes a resonance with me, and I don't really understand that. So I guess the process of painting is the way of making that happen, if you like. There was one particular image I saw. It's actually called The Empty Chair, and I went upstairs in this house in Weardale. I wasn't going to go because it was a dodgy staircase. I thought, oh, okay, but I went to the top of the stairs, and this chair was sat, and there's a window behind it. There was a swallow hovering in the window because the sashes had snapped, with grubs in its mouth. And the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. Yeah, I never set this thing up. It was just exactly as I found it. I left the swallow out of the painting. I thought that might be get over the top, but it was just something which I thought, I've got to paint that. And I don't have much of any other more understanding than that. I need to paint that. And it took me 2 months to paint that picture. And actually that one I started the same week as I'd seen it. As soon as I processed the photo, I started the painting. It was that immediate and it was that special. But as I say, other pictures I'll wait dialogue takes place then. And quite often the starting point isn't where you end up. Again, I think I've explained earlier on about the process of painting. It's a journey, and the dialogue builds up, and you have, you've got to sit and muse over it and think about it. And then hopefully the decisions you make will give you an image which people like and they want to see it. Yeah. If I'm not happy with it, it doesn't go in a frame. It doesn't get off the drawing board, in fact. And now sometimes those pictures can sit in there for a year on the drawing board. I'll just put them to one side because I'm not quite sure where to take it. I've just actually finished 5 paintings. This will be the 6th one, which I've been on with for quite some time. And I'm sort of ready to start a whole bunch of new work. The same kind of thing, photographs which have meant something. And now it's a case of turning that into paint. And yeah, it's, as I say, it's ongoing. Someone once said to me, I never thought of it this way. He said, Paul, what's the definition of an artist? I said, actually, I don't really know. I've never thought about it. He said, someone who has no choice. And I thought, hey, that makes a lot of sense, because you are driven. Yeah? I mean, if I don't paint, I feel adrift. I feel like uncomfortable. When I'm painting, I feel anchored. It's again going back to what I said earlier. My dad used to say his drawing board's his life raft. I guess I subscribe to that. It's yeah, it is very much about me and it, and that's when my dialogue with myself. That's really important. It gives me a sense of who I am at that point in time, regardless of external things. That dialogue's really important for me to keep me focused and centered. Yes, it's but it has been a very interesting journey. Lived in the Himalayas. I lived in New Zealand for 7 years. I've lived in America. Now in downtown Prudhoe. Hey, it's okay. It's okay by me. My youngest sister, keeps my feet on the ground. She says, you know, Paul, you've been all over the bloody world on mucky water. And I think, well, that makes it, puts it right in its box, doesn't it? I said, well, hang on, it's not mucky water, it's tinted water. Because there's a bit more craft to it than that.